Good evening, America. I should say good morning, America. I'm Scott Binsack, founder of MFA. It's 2:38 a.m. here on the East Coast. It is January 7th, 2016. I'm coming to you late with this breaking news. While everyone has been distracted with our intelligence agencies' basically false, overzealous report that the Russians have hacked our election system, and then we had this Fort Lauderdale shooting, horrible tragedy down at Fort Lauderdale Airport. The feds have seized and are planning to seize the election process in America, as reported by the Associated Press. I just want to check our feed on Facebook and see what's going on, make sure it's streaming through. And while this was all happening, and I'm saying this, I'm gonna put this right out there. There's been too much going on during this last few weeks of transference of power between, the Obama administration and the Trump administration, and everything has been about this Russian hack, which, as we know, even Julian Assange has said that it's not the Russians. They came out with this AAA rating that every agency that we have has said that the Russians interfered with our election system. And then, all of a sudden, we have what I believe to be a false flag happening in Fort Lauderdale, which was another horrible incident by a rogue, Muslim, I would say, or a jihadist. Maybe ISIS will claim responsibility, maybe they won't, who knows. Regardless of it, I believe it to be a false flag and a cover-up for what was going on. The Associated Press has just reported, and I got some information about this, and then Jay Johnson, who is the Secretary of Homeland Security, is designating the U.S. election system a critical infrastructure, a move that provides more federal help for state and local governments to keep their election system safe from tampering. In other words, the feds are going to take over our election process, and they're doing it as we speak through Homeland Security. By doing this, it takes the power away from the states in the election process and gives it all to the government's hands, and can possibly, over the next 13 days, allow them to call, as I've been saying since the election, recall this election and have a new election. Quote, given the vital role elections play in this country, it is clear that certain systems and assets of election infrastructure meet the definition of critical infrastructure in fact and in law, Johnson said in the statement Friday. He added, particularly in these times, this designation is simply the right and obvious thing to do. So they have used this false Russian hack as a way to federalize our voting process, and if it is not to interfere with Donald Trump's election, it is to interfere with elections in 2 years from now, as well as when Donald Trump's term is up. But it could be possibly for them to deem this election process, as you've even heard John McCain in his warmongering Senate role state that, he asked the head of the CIA if, should we go to war with this? He wants to go to war with Russia. This is all very serious, and now you have the feds, before Obama leaves, seizing, through Homeland Security, the election process. The link for this is up below in the in my comments section on here to the Associated Press article. The determination came after months of review. Now listen, he says, Jay Johnson says Homeland Security has been reviewing for months our election process, but yet you have Obama saying, we have no problem with our election process a few months ago, and that, he told Trump to basically go worry about getting votes and don't worry, our democratic process of voting is not a problem. There's no hacking or any of the above. Do you all remember that? Okay. So anyway, he said, from many states worried that the designation would lead to increased federal regulation or oversight on the many decentralized and locally run voting systems across the country. It was announced on the same day a declassified U.S. intelligence report said Russian President Vladimir Putin ordered an influence campaign in 2016 aimed at the U.S. presidential election. On the same day that the report was released, poof, Homeland Security comes out. Johnson comes into the rescue and says, we need to federalize, and he's going to federalize our election system. We have now become third world dictatorship government run in our election process. And it can allow them, if this is put into play by Homeland Security and passed before Obama leaves, the right to recall the elections on Donald Trump. The declassified report said that Russian intelligence services had obtained and maintained access to elements of multiple U.S. state or local electoral boards, which is a total crock of shit. None of the system targeted or compromised was involved in the vote tallying, the report said. So wait a second. In one breath, they're saying that Russia has had access to all of this, but yet in the other breath, they're saying none of it compromised the vote for Donald Trump. But yet they want to now seize and turn our election process, take it out of the state's hands, and federalize it, and it gets better. All this pulled, there's no coincidence. There's no coincidence. It comes out on Friday on the same day as the official report from the CIA, the FBI, the whole bit, as we all know from our intelligence agency, on the same day that we have a massive attack at a Fort Lauderdale airport. Understand where I'm going with this, everybody, okay? I knew there had to be something. I knew there had to be something else going on with this, because none of it locked in there. They were going to be pulling something, and they're also going, as we all know, heading towards war with Russia, and either going to dump it in Donald Trump's lap, or Obama's going to do it before the fact. And now you see, I shared a link from RT News that they are thousands of U.S. troops, military hardware are arriving in Europe for Poland and the likes to that on Russia's borders. And they're calling Russia an aggressor. Russia has not done anything aggressive to the United States. Okay, and if you want to call this alleged hack aggressive, really? Really? A 2013 presidential directive identified 16 sectors as critical infrastructures, including energy, financial services, healthcare, transportation, food, and agriculture, and communications. This is these critical infrastructures that Homeland Security has access and authority over. They're going to add to that. Johnson wants to add to that our election process. If you think we haven't entered, Orwell's 1984, well, we've entered it, and then some. And then some. Such a change does not require presidential action. Get this. Every loophole and everything that they can pull out, the Democrats and the libs are pulling out to stop Donald Trump, I'm telling you. And or stop Trump in the future, as well as to ensure that Democrats can cheat their way and now into elections across this country. And only requires the Secretary to first consult with the Assistant to the President for Homeland Security and Counterterrorism. So this act does not require presidential or congressional approval. Allegedly, they're saying that discussion about this designated election systems as critical infrastructure surfaced after hackers targeted the voter registration system of more than 20 states in the months prior to the November election. Wait a second. I'm going to say it again. Obama told the world when Donald Trump was saying that our election was rigged, and the system was rigged, and it is rigged, but it's rigged for the Democrats, and it blew up in their face, and this is what's coming out of it. Okay? They're saying that more than 20 states in the month prior to November's election, that hackers targeted it. No, you know who really targeted all of this, just like the Georgia governor said? Homeland Security did it. Homeland Security's been behind these hacks, and they're blaming him on Russia. And I'm going to call that and put my name right behind it and everything I stand for. Boom. How's that? That's who's been doing this. And this whole big plot is now coming out to show you they want to take control, and they're going to take control of our election process, and there's nothing the states can do it because Homeland Security has the right to do it, and it doesn't require the president or Congress. Understand this. While the designation puts responsibilities on the Department of Homeland Security, it does not require entities that are determined, i.e. critical infrastructure, to participate. Much of the nation's critical infrastructure is in a private sector. Johnson said election infrastructure, including storage facilities, polling places, vote tabulation locations, plus technology involved in the process. That means all the technology involved in our voting process is now going into federal hands, including voter registration, i.e. databases, those dead bodies, those dead peeps. Get ready. Voting machines, those ones that are owned by Soros, all these voting machines are now going to be federally controlled, and other systems used to manage the election process and report and display results. We're doomed. We're doomed. This has to be stopped. If they take control of our election process, we are screwed. We are screwed and screwed and screwed. We will no longer be that free, democratic republic of the United States because the feds will oversee our voting process, not the states. And they can change and then manipulate anything that they want at any time. This designation allows for the information to be withheld from the public when state, local, and private partners meet to discuss election infrastructure security. In other words, you don't even have to make it public what they discuss or what they're going to do with the voting process and how it's whatever they decide. It does not have to be even made public. Potentially injecting secrecy into the election process that's traditionally and expressly a transparent process. U.S. officials say such closed-door conversations allow for frank discussion that would prevent allegedly bad actors from learning about vulnerabilities. Not. What it prevents is the American people to know what's truly going on with the voting process and for them to control the entire matter. Department of Homeland Security would also be able to grant security clearances when appropriate and provide more detailed threat information to states. They're federalizing the entire thing, and they will allow security clearances, including that to private organizations, to control the computer systems, and they would have one national voting system, all controlled by the federal government. Here it comes. The Obama administration has proposed international cyber rules for peacetime that would expressly note that countries shouldn't conduct online activity targeting critical infrastructure, i.e., you see these bills that were passed? The specific language, critical infrastructure was the key word, and that gave Homeland Security the right to do what they're about to do, which will now also include election systems. This has been changed. It's happening. This is not a possibility. This is happening. President Barack Obama used sanctions last week to retaliate against Russia's efforts, as we know, to interfere with the election process by expanding a prior executive order that allows for their use in the case of cyber attack on critical infrastructure to entities. That means interfering with or undermining the electoral process or institutions. That legal lingo does not conform with what they're saying. They're saying Russia, allegedly hacked into the DNC and the likes, blah, blah, blah. That's not part of the election process. Let's make this clear, and I have seen nobody else pointing what I'm pointing out to point out. Hacking the DNC, even let's give it to them. We'll say Russia did hack the DNC, and they told the world about Hillary Clinton's cheating, lying, and Donna Brazil's, getting of questions and the like. I'm telling you, I'm a Christian woman. I didn't do that. I would never do that, Sean. Anyway, this is what I'm saying. So that's not the hacking of the DNC is not hacking into our election process. That's the DNC's computers. There's still no evidence, nor have they ever pointed out or can point out ever that, and they even stated that voting machines or the like have been hacked by the Russians and thus changed. So they're using this incredibly big cover, this false bullshit CIA, FBI, report, throwing Donald Trump's election under the bus as well at the same time, trying to degrade his win, and then using it to seize our election process under the federal law. But yet it doesn't meet the legal statutory wording of that, as it says. Interfering with or undermining the election process or institutions. Nothing's been hacked as far as the process or the institutions that create and carry our vote. Nothing. Nothing in the reports even say that. They say the opposite. They say that they hacked the DNC and that they gave this information to Julian Assange, and then they said Podesta's emails, you understand, which he let, as a 14-year-old could do. And there's an email I'm about to share that was leaked of Podesta even talking about his changing of his password and not being able to do it, etc. My point being, nothing in this report gives Homeland Security the right to pull this and take over our election process, because nothing has undermined the election process or the institutions. The DNC computers have nothing to do with the election process. Nothing. And I have yet to, nobody's pointed this out. They have nothing to do with the election process. That's just the DNC's computer system. Big deal. That's not our voting machines. That's not the tallying up. That's not reporting to news and outlets when the vote is counted in the full and they call states. None of that's been touched by the Russians, and there's no proof that they did. So they're using this entire cover-up, this entire story, to now seize control of our elections, and that can possibly they could use that, and I'm not exaggerating, they could use that to seize and reverse the election process from Donald Trump and call for a new election, as they do in European and third world countries on a regular basis. And that's the way it goes in other countries when the ruling parties don't get what they want, i.e. the elite or the globalists don't get what they want. They just have a new election, claim it was fraud, and now on top of it, while everybody's paying attention to this report and now this airport bombing, this massive bomb comes down and the ripping of our voting rights into federal government control. With election infrastructure designated as critical, an attack that takes the system down would also qualify for a response of sanctions or wars. Listen, an attack that takes the system down. Nobody took down our voting system. Nobody took down the voting process. The vote went off, and Donald Trump won this election fair and square. But they want to keep blaming the Russians. They want to keep blaming these leaked, WikiLeaks for helping Donald Trump win, when in fact, let's be honest, what about them smashing Donald Trump with false news stories every day for the New York Times, CNN, the like, false rape stories, women, all types, you name it, fake. That they threw everything they had at him, and they still want to say that this DNC and these few WikiLeaks that really people didn't pay attention to like they should have, and the seriousness of them, and Podesta's as well, interfered with Hillary Clinton, and that the Russians did this. That's not interfering with our election system, and it does not meet the legal requirements for the federal government to do what they're about to do. Representative Benny G. Thompson of Mississippi, who is the ranking Democrat on the House Homeland Security Committee, commended Johnson's actions and said, of course, the Democrats are commending this because this is the bottom line of what they wanted to do. In the long term, this will put our electoral system on a more secure footing and maintain public confidence in our elections. Really, public confidence in a government that's super corrupt has been exposed by Snowden and the likes and Julian Assange and truthers across this globe for being completely and utterly corrupt, bought, paid for, and controlled by the globalists and themselves, who are pushing for New World Order. Jim Langevin, of a Rhode Island Democrat and co-chairman of the Congressional Cybersecurity Caucus, said in a statement that the decision demonstrates the vital need to ensure votes can't be tampered with. We must also act as a nation to build our resilience against future information warfare attacks. Understand this. This ensures that the government can tamper with our election results. This is something that America must stand up now for. Completely stand up now for. Please like and share this. I notice many people haven't been sharing this. Please like and share this and get this word out across, please. This is all from the Associated Press and have been confirmed as well. Georgia's Secretary of State Brian P. Kemp, who is a member of the U.S. Election Infrastructure and Cybersecurity Working Group run by DHS, is among those who have opposed the designation, testifying in September to a House Oversight Committee. See, this was going on in September. Did anybody know about it? Not. Did anybody tell us? Not. Did the media tell us? Not. Did Obama tell us? No. That's when he's making statements into October and telling Donald Trump, back off, no problem, the system's great, there's no rigging and hacking. But Homeland Security at this time was already allegedly discussing this. Testifying in September to a House Oversight Committee, Kemp said more federal oversight could make systems more vulnerable and could make protected records more accessible. I agree. You know who it makes it accessible to? The government, to manipulate our voting process and your vote. This country, this Obama has taken this country down a rabbit hole of complete deception and shredded our Constitution and our rights. This is huge. Your voting rights are going to be taken away from you, and they are enacting this as we speak. And as I said, it does not require presidential or any other, the Congress or the Senate, to approve it. When Johnson discussed the likelihood of the designation in a conference call with state officials on Thursday, Kemp called the action a federal overreach into a sphere constitutionally reserved for the states. So it's taking the states away, the power away from the states. According to a copy of his comments, released by his office, Kemp told Johnson on the phone that this smacks of partisan politics. Oh, it's partisan politics, all right. Given the dwindling days left in the Obama administration. Obama, you are a complete POS. Understand this. Complete traitor. And I'm telling you, they're going to pull something. This is huge. They're going to pull something even bigger tied to this with only 13 days left. Kemp has appealed to President-elect Donald Trump to investigate the failed cyber attacks on the Georgia Secretary of State's network that traced to the Department of Homeland Security. Remember those, as I said in the beginning of this video. Calling the department's technical explanations insufficient because Homeland Security has really given no answer on how Georgia, I apologize for the noise, this is early in the morning, I had to shoot this down here, so technical explanations insufficient. Georgia's voting system got hacked, not by Russia, by Homeland Security. Understand this. This has been a big setup the whole time. Huge setup. The link, as I said, is up on here to the AP. America, we are truly now under the siege of full government control and our constitutional rights being ripped from us, and they're going to take the election process away from the states. And the states need to stand up and say no to this with the people across the United States. Now, this is something to protest and march about and hit it hard, because this is huge. And it's not over yet. This is not over yet, like I said. And I know it's early in the morning, so I apologize, but I had to get this out here, and it's just huge. Very, very huge. This is huge. I'm looking at your comments on Facebook. So, but please, this is huge. So while everybody was paying attention to the reports, the intelligence reports, which are totally, completely like a joke. I mean, you should be laughed at. Our intelligence agencies should be laughed at, because they put together this garbage system. Report, and then you have this huge situation at the Fort Lauderdale airport. Coincidence? At the same time, Homeland Security is delegating our voting process and putting it into the Fed's hands. I will share the article on Facebook in the comments, and then I'll put it up on there as well. But you can find it on live stream here as well, on the side of this event for you to read. And it is from the Associated Press, and I've done follow-up with it. And why wasn't this discussed to the American people? Nope, this is what I'm saying. I just shared it right there. News from the Associated Press. I just put it into the feed for you guys. This is serious stuff, okay? This is serious. And here's the key. Why now? Why now with 13 days left? we have the Russian. Before this, Obama's up to the whole world. Our system's not rigged, no problem. Donald Trump, I think you should go out there and worry about getting votes. Oh yeah, he was getting votes enough to spank Hillary and send her ass packing. Pack your shit, Hillary. And Obama's packing his shit too. So he tells the whole world, nah, Donald Trump's a conspiracy theorist. There's nobody rigging our elections. We have a great system. Then, this. What? Trump wins. They all panic, they all scramble, and now they have tried everything, from Jill Stein, Electoral College, riots in the streets, you name it, and now they're into this. The next thing left is war and martial law. And they've been throwing Russia under the bus, and they've been throwing Trump under the bus, and they keep throwing Trump under the bus, and Trump thinks Obama's his friend. Mr. Trump, President Trump, Obama is not your friend. Neither are these global elites. John McCain, the likes of these people, John Kerry, they're not, and now they're also with this. Think about this. They also smashed Israel in the midst of this in the past 2 weeks, and now they're going to grab and trying to get Palestine as a state in the midst of this. And then we have the situation with Russia heating up as like every second. This is a path to destruction. And Trump, even being sworn in, is going to be dumped with this all in his lap, and thus have a problem. And you know what? This is the same system that Obama used to get in and beat Hillary Clinton. Okay? But that was okay for him. If it was reversed right now, this would be a whole told story. Oh, God forbid. God forbid it was us, doing this. We're like, but this is one of the sneakiest moves, just like the deal that they did to go against Israel. Now they're federalizing our voting process, and they're using a legal wording in Homeland Security doctrine to do this, to designate it as, this is, you got to remember something, everybody. Obama is a lawyer, okay? He was a lawyer. He's still a lawyer, okay? President or not. He has to put his law license up while he's president, but he's still a lawyer, okay? This man's not stupid. He was groomed for this position. He's been he's the sleeper cell, the head. Like we have Bin Laden and the rest of them. No, it's Obama. This man is the you want to call him the Antichrist? Wonderful. Call him whatever you want to call him. But this man is bad news. That's correct. They did this false flag, Daniel, pushed all this through just while we were thinking, and this is pushed through. I just put the AP link up on there, and I will put it on on our Facebook page as well. This is what I'm telling you. This is huge. They want to federalize, and not want it. They're federalizing our voting process and using this. And do you understand what they're doing with this? This whole everything that they've pulled so far is to truly crush the American people's vote. That's what they're doing. This is the biggest slap in America's face for those who voted for Donald Trump in a free democratic process that is supposed to be just that. But it was okay for them to cheat, lie, steal, do whatever they wanted to do to get Hillary Clinton into power, and it failed miserably. And now this is the payback to us, as I said. This is payback to the American people. This is the big to the American people, and that's how this president is and has been, and those around him. And Joe Biden is right up there with him, because Joe Biden's slated to run in possibly in 4 years. If you guys don't get notified, you got to make sure you've liked and followed the page on MFA, or sign up for live stream. When this video ends, go to live stream, create an account. They don't take it's your email address. That's it. It's free. You'll get notified by email, and we're setting up 3 other ways for you to be, and you'll see a blog from our new website on how to do that. We're setting up 3 other ways to be notified. Can I explain the false flag? Don't listen to that. Hillary running for mayor of New York City. Please give me a break. Let her be mayor of New York City. I'm telling you, this is going to be worse before it gets any better. Trust me. Theater surrounding Russia, basically on that side of Poland and the rest. And now, while this is all happening, on this same Friday, you have a shooter come out of the middle of nowhere that has supposedly been on the FBI watch list, terror watch list. And I wouldn't doubt it, because that's the way they all turn out to be. Just like the one in California, she got in, nobody checked her Facebook and everything you could have told. This kid comes along, and boom, starts shooting up from a gun that was in his suitcase. Starts shooting up in an airport, shooting everyone in an airport. What this does not, false flag, get it? They create this event to take you away from what's really happening to create this, and it also pushes their other agenda, beefing up security in airports, and thus taking even more rights from you and us to do the same. It's just like after 9/11. You know, now we have full body scanners, and people said, "No way, I'm not going to use a body scanner." Yet we have forced to use it every day today. Take off your shoes because of the shoe bomber. The shoe bomber, right? Okay. Understand this. This live stream is going fine, so I don't know. You know, if it shut off on you, it has nothing to do with me. But this is still running well in here. And like I said, please share this, and it's running well. No other shows I watch on Facebook gets interrupted like this one does. Why is that? I don't know, Joe. I can't answer that. I know a lot of Facebook shows that are getting interrupted and people not getting notified because they're messaging me. So, I don't know who this Jill White is. She shows up as a black lettered. Send link again. I'll put the link up again. It's also in live stream. Join MFA TV on live stream. It's a much, you know, if you can't see it on Facebook when it ties in, that's the way it goes. This will also be up on YouTube. I just pinned it up there again. Like I said, yes, Carolyn, a bunch of people talking the truth, saying certain terms. The algorithms are picking this up, and this is the problem. So, like I said, we're going to be live streaming not only from our own TV channel here, as you see on live stream, it'll show up on Facebook, and you want to put the likes and hearts. It's important to do that with Facebook's algorithm. I mean, so you can watch my live stream on Apple TV, Roku as well. And this setup is going to be for guests as well. I can put in videos, news stories, everything the like, guests in here, everything on live stream. We're also going to be YouTube live streaming from I'm not going to do it from my main channel. I'm going to do it from MFA's new YouTube channel, which we will live stream from there all at the same time. And most likely even Periscope. I just don't like Periscope. It's not my thing. It's, you know, so. Elaine, where have I been? I was just on this morning. I was just on this morning. I've been working. I got a few hours sleep. You know, I have a daughter I got to take care of as well. And I'm getting ready to start sharing lots of stuff for the inauguration, which is 13 days away. We have an event. So you're going to be seeing a landing page for that, a mini website. The event has already been created, a fund for that, and people have been asking about transportation and the like and that, and I'll get into that in a separate video, nothing to do with on this live stream. Yes, Laura, I shared it on Facebook and Twitter as well. Valerie, just show them the Associated Press story. It's right there. Okay? And why didn't that make mainstream media? The Associated Press shares to everybody in the world. Why didn't Fox pick it up? Why didn't CNN pick it up? Why didn't, anybody pick it up? Why? They don't want to give it any juice. They don't want to give it any traffic. Because this is huge. This is huge. Huge, huge, huge. And pay attention, because there's more coming. I just said the other day there's going to be a false flag. Sure enough, this horrible incident happened in Florida. U.S. election, hacking Homeland. I don't think that's it. Nicholas, you're sharing something else. I don't think that's maybe it is. I don't know. I'm on live stream, but no place to type like I'm reading remarks. No, I took off comments on live stream. I took them off. Everyone needs to watch this. They'll be attacking the power grid. Yes, Anitra, that's a very big possibility, and blaming that on Russia. And Russia, you're saying that was retaliation from Russia. Why do you think Putin has been setting up on the defensive for the past 2 months, heavy, especially in the past month, and even having drills for nuclear war? I got a call today. There's from an inside source that from the military that there's a lot of activity up in the Washington State area, up through that whole area. We have, as I said, RT and